That's working quite well and is a way that the environmentalists are pushing to change the Endangered Species Act. The other way is that some groups are simply saying, let's go out and buy habitat. Let's lease habitat. Let's put our money where our birds are, our toads are, our rodents are, you name it. There are groups that care about bats. Bats? But they go out and buy caves for bats. Now, admittedly, caves are probably a fairly cheap thing to buy compared to a piece of development property.
Not after the Batman movies, actually. It's gone up quite a bit.
I haven't thought about that.
Governor Owens had an interesting thought here, and actually I think it came from his Department of Wildlife. They had all these endangered species, and somebody said, well, why don't we just make more of them? And so particularly when it came to fish hatcheries and some other abilities to actually raise these animals and put them in the wild and get to the point where we can take them off the endangered species list. Is that a possibility?
Well, the best example of that is the peregrine falcon. The Peregrine Fund was a private fund that was created and had to get a lot of government red tape moved out of its way to be able to raise peregrine falcons and then later release them. And they did that because the people who love peregrine falcons were willing to put the money up for the Falcon Fund and then release them into the wild. So it can be done.
Is it possible, here's my skepticism, is it possible that many people, many interests who do not want to see building, do not want to see production, do not want to see that dam there, that housing development here, the paper company taking down the trees there, don't really want these animals off the endangered species list because it is a way to stifle the creation of wealth, the creation of industry, the creation of all sorts of things? Because if we can keep that fish on the endangered species list, we got a way to stop that dam.
Oh, but you're cynical.
I am.
The classic case of this, and the words are from one of the leaders in the environmental movement who pushed for listing the spotted owl. You may remember this little bird up in the Pacific Northwest. He said, and I quote, "If the spotted owl had not existed, we would have had to invent it." Their goal was to stop logging in the Pacific Northwest. Washington and Oregon have gone from 6 billion board feet of lumber in the late 1980s to 1/10 that amount today. Almost all because of the spotted owl. So they got what they wanted. They stopped logging. Did it help the spotted owl? That remains up for grabs.
Let me ask, did it help the spotted owl?
There's some evidence that the main reason for the demise of the spotted owl, especially on its southern fringes, is a close relative, the barred owl, that's migrating up from California and forcing the spotted owl out of its habitat, both by force and by killing it. So the spotted owl, plus there's the question of whether it was ever that endangered anyway. I've seen many documentaries of the numbers of spotted owls that existed, especially on private lands, that companies such as Simpson Timber didn't want people to know about. Same thing. If you know about it, you may regulate me.
People are listening to us, and those are nice little things. You know, I mean, we could also talk about water quality as well. Here in Colorado, we've got, I think, some terrific water law that gives property rights to water owners, and they have to, you know, there's penalties if you poison your water, and I believe in those. That is, I believe, a core function of government.
You have to have liability for bad use, for things that creep across your property into mine. You should be held accountable.
Economists like to call those externalities. So I got a paper mill over here and I'm putting bleach into the water. The guy downstream has to deal with that problem. That's a good call for government and for regulation to make sure that that guy has to clean up his mess before it gets to the stream. Are we in agreement on that?
We are, but I'll just add a couple of examples of pollution, if you will. Bison migrate out of Yellowstone Park carrying brucellosis and can transmit that to the private cattle herd. Is Yellowstone Park liable? Our wolves from Yellowstone are migrating your way. When they kill cattle here, is Yellowstone Park liable? Is the Fish and Wildlife Service liable? You guys could deal with that one.
Let's take it from those areas and go to the hot topic, which is everyone knows that the planet is burning up and it's all our fault. And we've got to do something, including outlawing incandescent light bulbs. Edison's great invention now will be contraband. Where does the free market, you know, if you guys do property and economic research, where's the free market when it comes to something that is a global issue? If in fact this is a largely man-made issue, free markets aren't going to solve this problem.
And I don't enter into the debate, is it or isn't it? Did you do it? Did I do it? Did the sun do it? I will stipulate the climate is warming and that humans have had their share of contribution to it, just because we need to move beyond that. I hope that's a healthy scientific debate that continues. Once we've done that, I think there are, on the policy front, three important questions to be asked. One is, if we do anything, will it have an impact? The scientists are in agreement. Look at the policy, the IPCC, the famous
this is the UN
UN group that is held out to be the group. Their data show, doing everything in Kyoto, for example, in the Kyoto Protocol and the treaties there that have followed, we will have no impact on global temperatures over the next century. So, are we going to do something that costs that has no impact? Second question is, at what cost? The cost of every proposal that's before Congress today are humongous. The average family by the year 2020 will be facing a cost of somewhere between $1,500 and $25 a year to implement these things. Now, some people may be able to tolerate that, others won't. But the third and important point is, are there alternatives through the market? And the best alternative is to let the market work. For example, some states are saying, make insurance transparent so we know what are the insurance costs if you're going to be standing in water up to your knees. Those markets work well, they predict well. What's happening with land markets? We're seeing movements of grape production from southern France into Germany. Now, the French won't like it, the Germans might. That's because these markets are saying, we can get land up in Germany cheaper, produce grapes that are as good, because the market is signaling to us. We need to let the market forces work out where the places are we want to be doing things, and get people to move out of the places where the impacts are going to be.
Well, I've got a minute left. Let me ask you this question. And I've known these folks, and they're the best. You know how former smokers are the most ardent anti-smokers? I've known a lot of command and control, central engineering, planner, environmentalists that once they start creeping to the dark side and become free market environmentalists, they don't give up their bicycles, they don't give up their beards and fleece jackets, but they get this. Do you and PERC, do you get a lot of these folks?
We have a program for what we call enviropreneurs, environmental entrepreneurs. These are those folks. They didn't read Adam Smith, they just saw that it works, and that's why they're embracing it.
Place to go to get more information, website?
PERC.org.
PERC.org. Terry, thank you so much, and thank you for watching. Tell a friend about the Independence Institute. Listen for me late nights on 850 KOA. Check us out on independenceinstitute.org, and by all means, tell a friend. We'll see you next week.
I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.